Hotboi's luck may have just run dry. A judge has issued a sentence that could lock him away for life, from small-time offenses to major charges. His record is long.
I used to just steal, take stuff like that. I used to just take stuff. I used to snatch iPhones like that.
But this time he dragged his baby mama and their young child into the chaos. Let's unpack it. The baby mama scandal that changed everything.
Florida rapper Hotboii found himself in a familiar situation in the back of a police cruiser after officers say that he brought a gun and scaled a fence to get into a school.
So, picture this. It's 3:40 in the morning on July 9th, 2025, and Hotboii gets arrested in Doral, Florida, for firearm possession and trespassing on school property. Now, at first glance, that might just seem like another rapper making reckless choices. But when you dig deeper into what really happened that night, it reveals a story far more twisted than anything you could make up, according to his legal team. The whole situation began when his baby mama allegedly shared his location on social media while he was with his son. In the streets, that's the ultimate betrayal. You don't expose your baby daddy's whereabouts, especially when he has enemies looking for him. But that's exactly what Asia Monroe reportedly did. What followed plays out like something straight out of a crime thriller. The lawyer claims that two hooded men tried to break into Hotboi's home while he was inside with his child. Any father worth anything is going to do whatever it takes to protect his kid, and that's exactly what Hotboii did. Grabbed his gun and his son and got out of there fast. But here's where things took a wild turn. In his effort to protect his family, Hotboii ended up getting caught by police with that same firearm in school grounds, and for a convicted felon, that's one of the worst places you can be caught carrying. The optics couldn't have been worse. Police surveillance footage showed him scaling a fence and tossing a black Carhartt bag over another.
According to police, Hotboii scaled a fence on the south end of the school and was later spotted on surveillance footage tossing a black Carhartt bag over a fence connected to a fancy community adjacent to the camp.
When you're on probation like Hotboii was, getting caught with a gun is already a serious violation. But getting caught with one on school property takes things to another level. It can land you in prison for a very long time. Hotboii was released the next day after posting a $2,500 bond. It might seem like he caught a break, but anyone who knows the system understands that low bond amounts often mean they're just giving you enough rope to hang yourself. The real consequences come later in the courtroom, where judges don't play around with repeat offenders who bring guns onto school grounds. But here's what really stands out about this whole situation. If his lawyer's story is true, then Hotboii was basically set up by the one person who should have had his back the most, the mother of his child. She's supposed to be his ride or die. Yet she allegedly put both him and their son in danger by sharing their location publicly. In the streets there's a saying, keep your circle small and your mouth even smaller. But when the people closest to you start moving like your enemies, that's when you know you're in real trouble. The streets have been buzzing about this incident, and the reactions are mixed. Some people say Hotboii was just protecting his family and got caught in a bad situation. Others believe he should have known better than to be carrying a gun while on probation, especially after everything he's already been through. But everyone agrees having your baby mama leak your location is a betrayal that goes against every street code. What makes this even more tragic is that this arrest marks Hotboi's fifth in just 7 years, a pattern that won't go unnoticed by the court. When you keep landing in similar situations, judges stop showing sympathy. And when you're already on probation, any new charges can lead to prison time, not only for the new offense but also for violating your probation. The fact that children were involved makes this situation even more serious. Hotboi's lawyer emphasized that he was trying to protect his son when it all went down, and any parent can relate to that instinct. But the law doesn't care about intentions when you're a convicted felon caught with a firearm on school grounds. Judges see the charges, not the backstory. The timing of this arrest couldn't have been worse for Hotboi's career. He had just been released in September 2024, after serving more than 2 years on RICO charges, and was finally starting to rebuild his life and music. He'd been dropping new tracks and seemed to be getting back on track. But this July 2025 arrest might have undone all of that progress. So, how did he end up wrapped in a RICO case in the first place? Federal charges in street politics. Now that you know how his story might be ending, let's rewind to the case that changed everything. The RICO case that had him locked up for over 2 years and revealed that Hotboii wasn't just a rapper, but allegedly the leader of an entire gang. This is where things get deep. It all started in July 2021 when Hotboii was arrested as part of Operation X-Force, massive 9-month investigation that brought down 34 people, including fellow Orlando. But this wasn't just a regular drug bust. It was a full-scale RICO investigation. When the feds hit you with RICO, they're saying you're part of a criminal organization, not just someone committing isolated crimes. These charges come with serious penalties, 30 years or more. According to authorities, Hotboii was allegedly the leader of the 438 gang based in Orlando's Silver Star Road area. The gang was in a violent feud with the Army gang, allegedly led by 9 Lock 9. This wasn't just a rap beef, it was a real gang war, linked to more than 30 shootings and several homicides, including innocent bystanders. Among the tragic casualties were 16-year-old Tavia King, the niece of Orlando City Commissioner Regina Hill, and high school football star Dexter Wrench Jr., who had a scholarship to the University of Louisville. These were young people with bright futures who got caught in violence they had nothing to do with. From a legal standpoint, the case against Hotboii was largely based on two things: his Instagram posts and a gun found in his car. Prosecutors claimed that his social media posts, which featured firearms and references to the 438 gang, promoted gang activity. He was also charged with firearm possession after a gun was discovered in his car while attending a funeral. This brought up a recurring issue in hip-hop. Where do you draw the line between artistic expression and criminal evidence? When rappers reference guns and gangs in their music or posts, is it art or is it proof of a crime? Hotboii's attorney, Lyle Main, argued that 438 wasn't a gang, it was just a neighborhood representing Pine Hills, similar to how rappers like Biggie or Kodak Black promote where they're from. The gun in Hotboii's car belonged to his security team and was meant for protection. What made the case even more serious was the connection to 9 Lock Mean and the escalating violence. On April 14, 2020, Demetrius Cox, affiliated with the Army gang, shot and killed Wolf Luma, a 438 member. That triggered a cycle of revenge that included public shootings, like the one at Orlando's Millennium Mall, where 438 allegedly targeted 9 Lock. No one was killed there, but it showed the violence was spilling into public spaces, raising red flags for law enforcement. That's when the FBI and local authorities launched Operation X-Force. After 9 months, they arrested 34 people and labeled the group a sophisticated criminal organization, not just a few friends rapping. Hotboii was initially held on a $750,000 bond, which reflected how seriously the court viewed the case. That kind of bond is reserved for people seen as flight risks or dangers to the public. And at just 21 years old, that's a heavy situation to be in. But here's the twist. After over 2 years in jail, Hotboii's RICO charges were dropped through a plea deal. He pleaded guilty to a single count of conspiracy and was sentenced to time served plus 5 years probation. That was a big win for his legal team because RICO charges usually carried long prison terms. His lawyer's argument that 438 wasn't a gang, just a local movement, helped him avoid a much harsher fate. When Hotboii got out in September 2024, he released a song called 9/11's First Day Out, which quickly hit over 1.2 million views, showing his fanbase was still with him. In hip-hop, sometimes legal issues actually boost an artist's street credibility and popularity, but the RICO case wasn't his only legal trouble. Between 2018 and 2025, Hotboii was arrested multiple times for guns, weed, and resisting officers. That record makes every new charge more serious in the eyes of the law. In February 2025, just months after his release, he was arrested again, in Orlando, some say for violating probation. It was clear that even after beating the RICO case, staying out of legal trouble was still a challenge, and that's the real tragedy. Despite major label deals with Geffen and Interscope and collabs with stars like Future, Lil Baby, and Polo G, Hotboii's legal problems kept pulling him back. His track Don't Need Time went platinum, proving he had real talent and commercial appeal, but the streets have a way of dragging you down. The RICO case cost him over 2 years of his career, and now this July 2025 arrest could ruin everything he rebuilt. But to really understand how it came to this, you have to go back to where it all started: Pine Hills. Orlando Hotboii was born Javari Later Walker on June 13, 2000, and raised in Pine Hills as one of 17 siblings. Let that sink in. 17 kids in a single-parent home in one of Orlando's toughest neighborhoods. Basic necessities were luxuries. Every meal was a blessing. Kids had to grow up fast because their mother couldn't be everywhere at once. Hotboii, the father, wasn't consistently around, so his mother raised the kids on her own. Imagine the stress. When the lights get cut off and the rent's due, and you've got 17 mouths to feed. That's a level of pressure that breaks most people. Pine Hills isn't the Disney World tourists imagine. It's the side of Orlando shaped by poverty and violence. And in places like that, the streets start to look like the only way out. Hotboii began rapping at 7. Already searching for a way to escape, music became his release. But at the same time, he was learning hard lessons about survival. He vividly remembers the first time he stole something. He was just 4 years old.
We was in the store, right? It's me, my mom, and my daddy. So we in the store. So you know how when you come to the line, you get to pick the candy when you go to the register and stuff. Get to pick your candy. So my mom was like, hurry up, you better hurry up, we're gonna leave you. Better hurry up. I still don't know what I want. I'm licking. They leaving, I grab the candy and I gotta catch up. I end up stealing it.
That story might sound innocent, just a 4-year-old taking candy, but it reveals something deeper about the environment Hotboii was growing up in. When survival instincts kick in that early, when a child learns that sometimes you have to take what you need because no one else is going to make sure you get it. That's a lesson that shapes everything that comes after it. In 2016, with help from his mother, Hotboii began uploading music to SoundCloud and YouTube. This was during the early days of streaming, when artists could build a following from their bedroom if they had the talent and the hustle. But for Hotboii, that period of creative growth was soon interrupted by the harsh realities of street life. As he got older, his criminal activity escalated. By the time he was a teenager, he had moved from petty theft to more serious crimes like snatching iPhones and eventually burglarizing homes.
I used to just like steal, take stuff like that. I used to just take stuff. I used to snatch iPhones like that.
At age 15, Hotboii received his first burglary charge, which led to him spending 2 years in a juvenile detention program from 2016 to 2018. But here's what's interesting about that period. Instead of breaking him down, it actually became the time when he seriously committed to his music career. During his time in detention, he wrote many of the songs that would later appear on his debut mixtape, Cut the Fan On. The song Gramhouse Blues from that mixtape gives us a raw, unfiltered look at what that experience was like. In the track, he raps about the reality of being locked up as a teenager, the isolation and the determination to make something of himself despite his circumstances. The lyrics reveal someone who was using that time to reflect on his life and plan for a different future. When Hotboii was released from juvenile detention, he faced the same choice that every young person coming out of the system has to make: go back to the streets or find another way. For a while it seemed like music might be that other way. After his release in 2018, he returned to the streets with a new sense of purpose. In 2019, he dropped YGs, which he described as a detailed walk through his experiences and survival tactics in the street. The track started building local buzz and showed that his time in detention had sharpened his skills rather than dulled his ambitions. His big breakthrough came with the song Don't Need Time, released in April 2020. This track was written in memory of his recently deceased friend, Wolf, and it showed a more vulnerable, introspective side of Hotboii that resonated with listeners. The song's success proved that he had the talent to make it in the music industry legitimately. It accumulated more than 9 million streams on Spotify and 24 million views on YouTube within 5 months, eventually earning platinum certification from the RIAA. A remix featuring Lil Baby further boosted the song's popularity and Hotboii's profile in the hip-hop world. But even as his music career was taking off, Hotboii couldn't completely escape the streets that had shaped him. His lyrics often reflected the reality of his environment, and his social media presence included references to the 438 area code and lifestyle, elements that would later become central to his legal troubles. He released his first mixtape, Cut the Fan on May 22, 2020, which included collaborations with established artists like Plies, LPB Pooty, and Rico Cartella. The project was praised by publications like Pitchfork and Audiomack for its authentic street narratives and melodic approach to contemporary hip-hop. The success of his music led to a recording contract with Geffen Records and Rebel Music, giving him access to major label resources and distribution. He followed up with collaborations with high-profile artists like Future on Nobody Special and Polo G on Go to Talk To, proving that the industry was taking notice of his talent. His debut studio album Double O Baby was released on December 22, 2020, followed by Life of a Hotboii in 2021 and Blinded by Death in 2022. The latter album entered the Billboard 200 chart at number 89, marking a significant achievement for an artist from his background. But success in the music industry doesn't automatically erase the influences and connections that shaped your early life. For many artists from street backgrounds, there's always a tension between their past and their future, between loyalty to where they came from and the need to move beyond those circumstances for their own survival. Hotboii's association with the 438 gang and his ongoing legal troubles showed how difficult it can be to completely separate yourself from the environment that made you. Even when you achieve success, the streets have a way of following you, especially when you continue to represent them in your music and on social media. The tragedy of Hotboii's story is that he clearly had the talent and work ethic to build a sustainable music career. His streaming numbers, chart positions, and collaborations with major artists proved that he could compete at the highest levels of the industry. But the combination of his criminal history and ongoing legal troubles created a pattern that became increasingly difficult to break. His multiple arrests between 2018 and 2025, including charges for gun possession, drug possession, and eventually the RICO case, showed a pattern of behavior that courts take very seriously when determining sentences. Each arrest made the next one more serious, creating a cycle where the consequences kept getting heavier. The influence of his upbringing can be seen throughout his music career. Songs like Gramhouse Blues and Don't Need Time draw directly from his personal experiences with incarceration, loss, and street life. His ability to translate those experiences into compelling music was his greatest strength as an artist, but it also meant that he was constantly walking the line between art and autobiography. In interviews, Hotboii often spoke about feeling a responsibility to represent his neighborhood and the people who came from similar circumstances. This sense of loyalty and representation is deeply embedded in hip-hop culture, but it can also create pressure to maintain connections and behaviors that might not be in an artist's best interest. The final irony of Hotboi's story is that his attempt to protect his son, the very thing that led to his July 2025 arrest, might be the most relatable part of his entire journey. After everything he'd been through, all the legal troubles and time in jail, he was still a father first when it mattered most. But even that paternal instinct, that most basic human drive to protect your child, ended up creating the circumstances that might send him away for the rest of his life. If you enjoyed watching this video, click one of the boxes on your screen to watch more similar content.